Right, that's sorted. Sorry about that. Let me just turn that on. But hey there guys, and welcome to this weekend's pre-season testing action for IFMC, the last one before the new season. I am JWF1 and we are here at the Circuito de Jerez circuit, a familiar place for IFMC when it comes to pre-season testing. And well, we're here to conclude pre-season testing this weekend. And if you think what happened at Paul Ricard, we had 4 different drivers top the session. Obviously, day 1 was topped by Daniel Ricciardo, day 2 being Lewis Hamilton, day 3 Esteban Ocon, and day 4 Sebastian Vettel. They were the guys that topped the sessions during the days at Paul Ricard, but we're now at a completely different track that's got a different characteristic to what Paul Ricard is. It is a ref, mainly known for its cornering rather than straight line speed. Obviously, it does have a back straight, but it's not very long. But we are here for the second pre-season test of IFMC Season 4. And before we start then, guys, let's quickly have a look at the drivers that will be taking part today. So here they are then. So for Etihad, you're going to be seeing Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. Bud Light Line Motorsport, Romain Grosjean and Felix Rosenqvist. I forgot to change the background for this one. Doesn't matter. Unlike the other graphic, which I needed to change for when I upload this later on. But Eldorado have Sergio Perez and Will Power. EMR have Sebastian Vettel and Nico Hulkenberg. Suomi, Kevin Magnussen and Patrick Ajala. GRM, Daniel Ricciardo and Antonio Felix da Costa. Monster, Brendan Hartley and Oliver Rowland. AMP, Pascal Wehrlein and Stoffel Vandoorne. Martini, Max Verstappen and Esteban Ocon. Shadow, Carlos Sainz Jr. and Charles Leclerc. And from Mars Porsche, you'll be seeing Scott Dixon and Ed Jones. And I actually even forgot during Paul Ricard, the reason why Scott Dixon wasn't there during Paul Ricard for either Eldorado or Mars was because he was banned from that test for what he did at IndyCar, the last race of the season, where he punted multiple drivers off at Montreal. So, they are the drivers for today. And of course, this is obviously the first time where teams can upgrade. Of course, it's the only day they can upgrade during pre-season testing. I know that 7 out of the 11 teams have taken advantage of this. Not going to name it for secrecy reasons like I did last season. But anyway, I've rambled on for too long. We've been slow delayed because of that graphic issue. But without further ado, let's get to the first day of a ref. So here we are then in the pit lane. The TV graphics is still there. I'm going to go to the end of the pit lane with, who was at the end of the pit lane? It's Stoffel Vandoorne. So we'll wait and get this session underway. As per usual, it is a 1-hour session around this track. And we're just waiting for some cars to get out onto the track. And obviously this will be the first time where people can advertise alcohol sponsors around this track. Obviously France they can't, because in real life France has laws when it comes to alcohol, but they are able to now here in Spain, and the 3 teams that are running alcohol sponsors are able to show them here this weekend. First man on track is Esteban Ocon in the Martini. First man out on track as well. He topped day 3 at Paul Ricard, and he comes out onto the track. Also on track is Sergio Perez. Eldorado struggled at Paul Ricard, and they're hoping for a turnaround here at a ref, and hoping that Paul Ricard was just a one-off in terms of that pace. Patrick Ajala out on track for Suomi. We also have Antonio Felix da Costa out there as well. Pascal Wehrlein has come out onto the track, as has Ed Jones. Lewis Hamilton in the Etihad is onto the track, so he goes out on track at this stage. Stoffel Vandoorne out on track as well, as is Daniel Ricciardo. Will Power is also out on track, as is Romain Grosjean. And Sebastian Vettel also coming out to the track. He topped the final day of Paul Ricard last weekend as well. And so far EMR seems to be having a quite successful test. Scott Dixon out on track in the Mars. Good to see him after his testing ban that he had at Paul Ricard for what he did at IndyCar at Montreal. As Max Verstappen is out on track for Martini. So all the guys are out on track, and already his teammate is already just come around the final corner now then, as he prepares to start his first final lap. Ocon will be the one setting the benchmark time for everybody to beat as he heads down the pit straight now, then heading down towards turn 1 on the track. So through turn 1 we go, as we now go up towards turn 2. And as you can see, Ocon then going around the left-hander, as he now just swoops around this next corner on the track as we go up towards the medium speed right-hander, and that will be the end of the first sector. What is Ocon's time throughout the first sector? It's a 25.006 for Esteban Ocon, as he now approaches the right-hander now then on the track. And just going out of that corner now then, as he'll go up towards the next section of corners then. And Sector 2 is coming out of this corner. It is obviously quite a short track, Jerez is as well. And the last time we were at Jerez for IFMC was not for this series in particular, which was for the support series as well, the feeder series, GP2 and GP3, because they had a round here back in Season 3. And of course, it was obviously the final weekend for GP3 and the penultimate weekend for GP2. GP2 was able to produce a finale at Yas Marina, and obviously the championship had already been decided at GP3, so it was pretty much a last gasp to the finish of the season for them as far as they're concerned. But Ocon now then coming across the line, and it is a 1:18.510. Perez slots into second, 3/10 behind. Patrick Kajala now then crosses the line, and he goes into third with that lap. Antonio Felix da Costa crosses the line, and he goes into second place for Antonio Felix da Costa. Pascal Wehrlein slots to third with that lap. Here comes Ed Jones coming out of the final corner. And let's see what he can do as he crosses the line to go into 6th place. Lewis Hamilton now then in the Etihad crosses the line, and he goes fastest by 1/10 of a second. Hamilton goes to the top. 7th for Stoffel Van Dorn, so it's P7 for him there. So Hamilton goes to the top. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo. He topped the first day of Paul Ricard. He crosses the line, and he goes fastest by 0.03 of a second. Ricciardo now goes to the top. 4th for Power, as we got a yellow flag, and that is down at turn number 3, I believe that is. So we've already got a yellow flag. Why is that then? We have a yellow, and there it is. It's Antonio Felix da Costa who pulls off with a suspension failure. So da Costa pulls off to the side of the track. Van Dorn slotted into 10th in the AMP, as mentioned earlier, and Ricciardo went to the top of the timing sheets. Power went to 4th in the Eldorado, but da Costa pulls off with suspension failure, so down there. 9th for Grosjean, 6th for Sebastian Vettel. Here comes Scott Dixon in the Mars Grand Prix car. Let's see what the, I believe, 5-time IndyCar champion in real life. 13th for Dixon, just behind teammate Ed Jones, as Kevin Magnussen is waiting as well. And obviously he spawned in because obviously da Costa pulls off. Verstappen slots into 3rd, just behind Hamilton and Ricciardo. So 3rd for Max Verstappen, as Magnussen is rearing to go. As unlike in Paul Ricard, some people looking to do a second flying lap if they can with lighter fuel, so getting a light fuel load run in for this session. And here comes Ocon across the line. He does not improve, as Perez meantime also didn't improve. Here comes Patrick Kajala. He crosses the line, doesn't improve, stays in P11. Usually this is just to test some things out, this lap is, or maybe just to get a better lap in case they get held up in traffic, but it didn't appear like anyone was held up in traffic. Wehrlein crosses the line. Magnussen goes out onto the track. Wehrlein, of course, didn't improve there. Here comes Ed Jones. He's going to cross the line, and no improvement for the Emirati driver. Here comes Lewis Hamilton. He doesn't improve and stays in 2nd place. Stoffel Van Dorn stays where he is as well. As now we look at Daniel Ricciardo, who just comes out of the final corner. Is he going to improve on his fastest time? The Australian crosses the line, and no, he doesn't. He stays at the top of the time. He stays on a 1:18.361. Power doesn't improve, nor does Grosjean, and nor does Vettel. Here comes Scott Dixon coming out of the final corner as he heads down the pit straight. Da Costa obviously in the pits as a result of breaking down. He'll have to go back into the T car, or if they're able to fix the problem, get back out in the normal car, but I would presume it probably would be the T car, as Verstappen crosses the line, doesn't improve, stays in 3rd place, as these guys are now going back into the pits, apart from Magnussen, who's about to start a lap. And so at the moment then, after these first few laps, it's Ricciardo at the top, with Hamilton 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, Ocon 4th, Power 5th, Da Costa 6th, Vettel 7th, Wehrlein in 8th, with Perez 9th, Grosjean 10th, Kajalo 11th, Van Dorn 12th, Jones 13th, and Dixon in 14th position. So that's that then really, as going out the corner there goes Kevin Magnussen, and he'll just peel back into the pits. No, in fact he won't. That's a mistake there. All the others that are around him are going into the pits. Luckily for K-Mag, then he'll be able to get a clean run out if he can, as he heads down the pit straight to start his next flying lap, as he heads down the pit straight heading towards turn 1 on the track. So through turn 1 he goes, out the corner and up towards turn 2 as well. Obviously this was also a track that was considered to possibly be a replacement for the Monaco Grand Prix, and but it was voted that Donington Park would instead host the European Grand Prix instead of a ref. So that was that, as now Magnussen just swoops around the right-hander coming towards the end of the first sector. 2 tenths down in the first sector is Kevin Magnussen, as he heads now down towards the famous right-hander where Schumacher and Villeneuve had their infamous collision, and which ultimately left Michael Schumacher disqualified from the World Championship as a result of a deliberate act to try and take out Jacques Villeneuve in that race. It was a controversial championship decider, but ultimately Villeneuve won that championship, and it's the last championship that Williams have won thus far in Formula 1. So, 5 temps down in the second sector is Kevin Magnussen, as he just goes out of the second part of that double right-hander. Up towards the bus stop chicane goes the Dane. And obviously there has been talks about maybe a Danish Grand Prix possibly happening in the future for Formula 1, especially since the Liberty Media plan to expand the calendar next year. And so now coming out of the final corner there, and let's see what Kevin Magnussen can do. Across the line goes the Dane, and he slots into 13th for that lap, just in front of the 2 Mars Grand Prix cars. Stoffel Vandoorne is going out onto the track, as will Jones, Sainz as well, Hartley, Ricciardo going back out, Grosjean, Alonso, Roland is out there as well. So these guys have already come out just before everybody else, along with Nico Hulkenberg in the EMR as well, Leclerc, Rosenqvist, Perez, Verline. Magnussen is actually doing another lap, in fact, so we'll keep an eye on him. So he just goes out of the first sector there. 3 temps down in the first sector. Wouldn't be surprised if this is not anything to be surprised about. Probably not going to be an improvement for K-Mag, as he just negotiates out of the right-hander there and up towards the next section of corners. As now in towards this left-hander. And let me just sort the sound out there, because it sounded a little bit out of sync. But 6 temps down that time around was Kevin Magnussen, as he now approaches the bus stop chicane where Villeneuve let Hakkinen through to take his first victory of his career in 1997, letting by the 2 McLarens as well. I think for their first 1-2 in a long time as well. And so coming out of the hairpin then, Kevin Magnussen is going to cross the line. And let's see what it's going to be. It's not good enough for an improvement. He stays in 13th place. And we now look at Ollie Rowland in the monster car, as he just swoops around the left-hander now, then up towards the double right-hander. 7 temps down in the second sector goes the young Brit. And it looks like so far Monster have clearly not had, apart from Hartley, he's been dragging the car up a little bit. Rowland just appears to be struggling throughout the test, including when he was at El Dorado for one of the days as well. But Rowland is expected to fill all 4 days for Monster, same as Hartley, so Jake Dennis isn't expected to come out for them this weekend. As Rowland comes out of the final corner and onto the start straight we go. Rowland crosses the line. What's the time going to be? And he slots to 14th. Nico Hulkenberg goes to 5th, so outpacing teammate Vettel so far for only the second time throughout the 2 preseason tests. And now Leclerc is going to cross the line, and he goes to 9th for that lap. Rosenqvist slots to 15th, as here goes Sergio Perez going out of the hairpin, heading down the pit straight now then, and the Mexican is going to cross the line, and he slots to 6th for that lap. So P6 for Sergio Perez, as Verline doesn't improve on that lap, as Vandoorne just comes out of the hairpin. So El Dorado grouped together in 6th and 7th at this stage. Must be an improvement from Paul Ricard. Vandoorne goes up to 13th with that lap. So that's that really. As now here comes Carlos Sainz Jr. heading down the pit straight now then, and Sainz is going to cross the line, and he goes to 17th with that lap, so not a good first lap for the Spaniard. As Hartley goes 21st, Grosjean doesn't improve and stays in 12th. So now we look at Ed Jones now then in the Mars Grand Prix car. He goes up to 18th himself with that lap. As here comes Fernando Alonso now then, the Spaniard. On his first flying lap, the Spaniard crosses the line. What can he do? He goes fastest. Alonso goes to the top of the timing sheet by 800ths of a second. Alonso, the defending champion, at the top of the timing sheets, and probably the guy that has the most tops here well, I don't know what I'm saying there, but I think I was trying to say that he's got he's been at the top here for most times when we've been to OF during preseason testing. Alonso at the moment at the top of the timing sheets and looking to do another lap. Ricciardo also did one as well, and it looked like he didn't improve on that lap and stayed in second place, wasn't able to get back to the top. Leclerc doesn't improve, now does Rosenqvist. As here comes Sergio Perez in the El Dorado, heading down the pit straight, and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P7. Here goes Pascal Verline, and he doesn't improve to stay in 12th place. Stoffel Vandoorne coming out of the hairpin, as he heads down the pit straight. And let's see what Stoffel can do. He does not improve with that lap and stays in 14th place as Da Costa goes back out onto the track in the T-car, of course, after pulling off with a suspension failure. Sainz improves but stays in 18th place as Hartley also improves but stays in 21st position. The back currently consisting of Mars and Monsters as Grosjean stays 13th for that lap. Ed Jones crosses the line, stays in 19th. Here comes the man currently at the top, Fernando Alonso, heading out of the hairpin. Alonso crosses the line and he stays on a 1:18.278. As here comes Daniel Ricciardo then in a GRM. What can he post? No improvement for him. Stays in second, still split in the two Etiads at this stage. Is that everybody done with a lap? Well, Da Costa's come back out as we know, and he's currently in ninth. So both GRMs again in the top 10. Looks like GRM do have some decent pace this season, especially Ricciardo. He seems to look like he's like he has been with other teammates, unless Verne can get his foot down. Seems to be in the mix with those guys at the top. So now Da Costa then around the right-hander we go, using as much curb as possible as he heads up towards the bust-up chicane through the right, left, and then right-hander, as he doesn't use as much, as he used quite a lot of the curb on the exit there, as the shadow there just went into the pits. Da Costa preparing to start his next flying lap as he goes down the pit straight. And heading down the pit straight, he starts his next flying lap as he'll be hoping now that Suomi doesn't hold him up in the form of Patrick Kajala, and it looks like he will be holding him up unless Kajala decides to get away. They both run the same engine, of course, both running the same Ferrari engine. Da Costa going out of that left-hander, going as fast as possible up towards the end of the first sector. Let's see what his first sector time is going to be. And he's 6 attempts down, way off his personal best. It looks like Kajalo is giving him a little bit of a headache in front at the moment. So far, with nearly 14 minutes completed in the session, here's what the leaderboard looks like then. It's Alonso at the top with Ricciardo second, Hamilton third, and then it's Verstappen fourth, Ocon fifth, Hulkenberg in sixth, Perez seventh, Power in eighth, Da Costa ninth, Vettel 10th, Leclerc 11th, with Verline 12th, Grosjean 13th, Van Dorn 14th, Kajala 15th, Rosenquist 16th, Magnussen 17th, Sainz in 18th, Jones 19th, Rowland 20th, Hartley 21st, and Dixon in 22nd position. So that's what it currently stands at this stage. Da Costa just going out of the bust-up chicane there as he's currently into the last sector of the course now. Then we ride on board with the Portuguese driver as he approaches the final corner. And let's see what Da Costa can pop as he now is going to cross the line. And he doesn't improve as a result. Kajala holding him up and he stays in 9th place at this stage. So now we look at Esteban Ocon in the Martini. He's about to start a lap. In fact, anybody on a lap? Let's have a look. Yeah, Patrick Kajala is currently on a lap, as is Da Costa. In fact, Da Costa on a second lap, it appears, as Vettel came out in front of Kajala. I wouldn't be surprised if Vettel impeded Kajala a little bit there, as he's 6 attempts down in the first sector. So similar gap to what Da Costa was compared to the man at the top, Alonso. As Kajala now then just roams around the right-hander as we ride on board with the Finn, the young Finn, who doing test driver duties this season. His other two test driver teammates being Nico Kari and Iro Vinio. I think it's pronounced Vinio, in fact, from what I saw from GP3 back in 2013. There was some footage from Valencia. I think they pronounced it as Iro Vinio. I think they pronounced it as. Or Aero Vinio. I'll pronounce him Aero Vinio. I think it's pronounced like that. I'll have to double check it again when I watch that footage. But anyway, Kajala now then up towards the final corner now then, and onto the pit straight we go. And Kajala now then is going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve with that lap, and nor does Da Costa. As Hartley starts a lap behind. In fact, both Monsters start a lap. As we look at Ocon, who's 2 attempts down in the second sector. So far, the Frenchman doesn't appear to be on an improvement, as he's so far in 8th place, just behind teammate Max Verstappen. As just going around the second to last corner, then goes Ocon, and up towards the final corner goes the young Frenchman. And let's see what he can do then. Out of the final corner and onto the pit straight he goes. And Ocon is going to cross the line. and no improvement, stays in P5. Magnussen crosses the line and goes up to 17th to get in front of Sainz. In fact, he just stays where he is, but improves on his best time. Leclerc doesn't improve. Here goes Nico Hülkenberg then. Hülkenberg currently in 6th place in the EMR, as one of the Etiads, in fact both Etiads are currently behind him at the moment. Hülkenberg improves to go up to 5th, so he gets in front of Ocon. Hamilton doesn't improve. Alonso just about to start a lap, the man that's currently at the top. Dixon coming out the final corner. What can Scott Dixon achieve? As he crosses the line and he improves, but to go into 21st place. So Hartley now in last place. Here comes Sebastian Vettel, currently in the cusp of the top 10 so far, 5 tenths behind Fernando Alonso. Out of the final corner then goes Sebastian Vettel, and the German is going to cross the line. Is this going to be an improvement for him? And it is. He goes up to 3rd with that lap. So P3 for Sebastian Vettel. So up to 3rd place goes the German. 800th off Fernando Alonso at the moment. Kajala doesn't improve. Hartley does to get back up to 21st. So Dixon again pushed back to last place. As here comes Oliver Rowland now then. Across the line he goes. And no improvement for him. Carlos Sainz also doesn't improve either to stay in 18th place. We now look at Felix Rosenqvist in the Bud Light Line Motorsport across the line, and he goes up to 10th, so he gets himself into the top 10 with that lap. Here comes Esteban Ocon in the Martini, looking to try and improve if he can, and across the line goes the Martini. No improvement for him, stays where he is at this stage, as Magnussen stays 17th. Leclerc doesn't improve and stays in 12th, as Hülkenberg goes back into the pits there, as Hamilton and Alonso stay out, so both Etiads looking to try and improve. As Hamilton now then in the Etihad crosses the line. Can he improve? And no, he can't. Stays 4th with that lap. Can Alonso improve? And no, he hasn't. 5 tenths off his best time, still on 1 minute 18.278 at this stage. Here comes Scott Dixon then in the Mars, and does he improve? Nope, stays 22nd with that lap. Sebastian Vettel looking to do another lap, as he's currently up in 3rd place at the minute. Around the final corner he goes, and he's now going to cross the line. Vettel, is this going to be an improvement then for the German? And no, it's not. Stays in 3rd with that lap, as Verstappen and Power prepare to go out on track. Hartley now then across the line he goes, and the New Zealander does not improve and stays 21st with that lap. The two Kiwi drivers for this season currently occupying the back of the pack. Rowland stays in 20th. Sainz stays 18th at the moment. I don't know if he's pushing, because he did quite a good job in the Paul Ricard test. Rosenqvist stays 10th with that lap. As now, let's have a look then. We look at Alonso. In fact, Alonso's going back into the pits. He's not bothering to do a second flying lap. He seems to have got the data he needs on this run, of course. As Verstappen now then out on track for Martini. And in fact, I think Alonso did do a second lap. I do apologise. But it looked like he didn't improve and stayed on a 1 minute 18.278. But Verstappen out on track, currently in 5th place at the moment. As we've had nearly 20 minutes of this session already gone. As Rosenqvist in front of him is expected to go back into the pits. But currently, this is what the leaderboard looks like then. Alonso at the top, Ricciardo 2nd, Vettel 3rd, with Hamilton 4th, Verstappen 5th, Hülkenberg 6th, Ocon 7th, Perez in 8th, Power 9th, Rosenqvist 10th, Da Costa 11th, Leclerc 12th, Verline 13th, Grosjean 14th, Van Dorn 15th, Kajala 16th, Magnussen 17th, Sainz in 18th, Jones in 19th, Rowland 20th, Hartley 21st, and Dixon in 22nd position. So that's currently how the leaderboard stands at this stage, as Verstappen negotiates around the bus stop chicane to prepare to start his next flying lap. Out the corner he goes, and up towards the final corner goes the Dutchman, and he's now going to start his next flying lap as he heads down the pit straight. And Verstappen then starts his lap, and now heading down towards turn 1, and it looks like his lap's going to get impeded because Jones has just gone out in front of him there. So Verstappen looking like it's not going to be an improvement, with Jones looking to be impeding him on this lap then. Through turns 2 and 3 we go. And so around the left hander we go. Verstappen getting close, seeing if he can try and pull an overtake on the Emirati driver. He's going to look to the inside for the right hander. Jones saying no to that, and that obviously impedes Verstappen even more on that lap. And so now we're going up towards the right hander now then. And as you can see, Verstappen just going out of the corner then and up towards the left-hander. And so now round he goes, And Verstappen now then up towards the right-hander we go. And he's 1.2 seconds down. You can tell how much Jones is practically holding him up on this lap. As we ride on board with the Dutchman, just to give you a better idea on how much Jones is impeding him at the moment. Jones just preparing to start his next flying lap. And probably Verstappen not that happy at this stage as he goes up towards the final corner. And around he goes then, heading down the pit straight then. So Verstappen going across the line. And let's see then, he doesn't improve and stays where he is at the moment. Power goes up to 8th for that lap, so he gets in front of Perez. Ricciardo starts another lap. Vettel going back out onto the track. Here goes Da Costa then, swooping around the bus-stop chicane. And let's see what his lap is going to be like as he starts his next flying lap. Grosjean also as well. Here's Sergio Perez in the Eldorado, just flicking the car through the left-hander and up towards the double right. 2 temps down in the second sector is Sergio Perez. Whether he's on for an improvement, I don't know. It's probably going to be a bit tight, but we will see anyway. It's now braking into the bus stop. Then goes Perez. Through he goes then. And around the double right he goes. As he goes up towards the final corner. And Perez now then about to finish off his lap. Hamilton back out to the track because there was an Etihad behind Perez there. Heading down the pit straight, and is Perez going to improve? He does. He goes back up to 8th place. Hamilton starts his lap. Verline crosses the line, and no improvement for him. Stays in 13th. Dixon starting a lap, as is Kashala and Ocon. Van Dorn heading up towards the final corner. Van Dorn currently down in 15th, 2 places behind teammate Verline. As he heads down the pit straight, Van Dorn crossing the line. And this is going to be an improvement. It is, but he stays where he is at the moment, which is 15th. Jones crosses the line. No improvement, stays in 19th. Verstappen doesn't further improve with the hold-up. Probably practicing slipstream if he can. Power stays in 9th. Ricciardo stays 2nd. No improvement. Vettel starting the lap. Here is Ricciardo's teammate for today, Antonio Felix da Costa, heading through the bus-stop chicane. Obviously in the spare car as his mechanics repair the suspension failure that was on his car earlier on in the session. Into the final corner then goes the Portuguese driver as he heads down the pit straight, and Da Costa is going to cross the line, and he is 5 temps down in the last sector, and as a result doesn't improve, stays in 11th place, just outside the top 10. Romain Grosjean, who's currently 14th at the moment in the Bud Light line, heads up towards the final corner, and let's see what Romain can do. Heading down the pit straight and across the line goes the Frenchman, and he goes up to 10th. So Grosjean gets into the top 10, pushes his teammate down into 11th. Perez doesn't improve. Hamilton doesn't either. He stays in 4th place. Verline doesn't improve, stays in 14th. Here goes Scott Dixon. Across the line he goes, stays in 22nd with that lap. Kajala goes up to 13th for that lap, so a big improvement there for Patrick Kajala to get himself up to 13th. Ocon doesn't improve, stays in 7th. Van Dorn, can he improve? The Belgian, nope, stays 16th. As here goes Ed Jones heading down the pit straight himself. Across the line he goes, and no improvement for Jones, staying in 19th place. Ricciardo stays where he is at the moment, which is P2. Nearly a 10th behind Alonso. Well, I'm saying that now because Vettel has gone to the top. Vettel has done a big improvement, and Vettel goes fastest by 200 a second to get above Fernando Alonso. So up into the onto the top goes Sebastian Vettel. So Vettel now fastest at this stage. Is Da Costa now then heading out of the final corner. Let's see what the Portuguese driver can do. And Da Costa stays where he is at the moment, which is P12. So we now look at Grosjean heading through the bus stop chicane. And let's see what Romain can do as he heads up towards the final corner. And now onto the pit straight goes the Frenchman. Is this going to be an improvement then for the Frenchman? As he crosses the line, no, he can't. Stays in 10th place with that lap. And Perez goes into the pits. Was there somebody behind Grosjean? We didn't see. Yes, Hamilton, he doesn't improve. Stays in 4th place at the minute. Here goes Scott Dixon in the Mars. Across the line he goes, and is this going to be an improvement? No, it's not. Stays in 22nd at the moment. Kajala stays where he is, which is P13. And so Leclerc going out. Ocon doesn't improve, stays in 7th with that lap, still behind Hulkenberg at the minute. Here's Vettel, the man who's now at the top of the timing sheets, looking to make it 2 in a row if he can after topping day 4 at Paul Ricard. Vettel now then, across the line goes the German. And no improvement, stays on 1 minute 18.256 as Magnussen just goes out on the track just behind Vettel. There's Vettel's teammate Hulkenberg, expected to come out onto the track quite soon. Leclerc came out in front of Magnussen, so he'll be the first one of this group to set a lap as he heads down the back straight, heading towards that hairpin. So through he goes then, Leclerc preparing himself for his next flying lap. And through he goes. And now up towards the left-hander we go, as he now goes up towards the double right-hander. And Leclerc now then just swooping around the corner now then as he prepares to start his next flying lap. Through the bus stop chicane he goes, as we have just over half an hour of this session remaining. 22 drivers, all 22 drivers have done a lap. Well, that was ages ago in fact, but this is now the new leaderboard. Vettel at the top, Alonso second, Ricciardo third, Hamilton fourth, with Verstappen fifth, Hulkenberg sixth, Ocon seventh, Perez in eighth, Power ninth, Grosjean 10th, Rosenquist 11th, Da Costa 12th, with Kajala 13th, Leclerc 14th, Verline 15th, then it is Van Dorn 16th, Magnussen 17th, Sainz 18th, Jones 19th, Rowland 20th, Hartley 21st, and Dixon in 22nd position. And as mentioned a little earlier, we have just over half an hour to go, specifically over 33 minutes and 10 seconds remaining, as Leclerc goes up towards the first sector on the track. And let's see what his first sector is like. 2 tenths down off Vettel in the first sector then. Let's see what his second sector is like to get an indication on whether Charles will be making an improvement on this lap. Around the right-hander he goes, using all the curb as possible now then, as we go up towards the double left-hander now then on the track. So through he goes, and now up towards the double right. His second sector, 4 tenths down in the second sector. I don't think he'll be on for an improvement unless his last sector is just that good and the shadow is just so good, probably set up for the last sector. We don't know, but I'm struggling to get my words out on that particular instance. But Leclerc now then through the second to last corner, and he'll now go up towards the final corner, and let's see what the Monegasque driver can do. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight he goes, and Leclerc is going to cross the line, and no improvement, stays in 14th place as Van Dorn just trundling down pit lane. Magnussen now then up towards the final corner he goes, and heading down the pit straight himself. Magnussen is going to cross the line, and improvement for him, yes it is, but stays in 17th. Rosenquist starting a lap, Rowland also as well, as is Sainz, Ricciardo, Power, Verline and Alonso. As Hulkenberg only 700ths off Vettel in the second sector, so Hulkenberg looking at an improvement, but then again he is 0.167 off Vettel, so maybe the last sector might be a weakness for Hulkenberg. But let's see now then, as he heads out of that bus stop chicane now then, up towards the final corner then goes Hulkenberg, who many people believe is very underrated. And now out of the final corner onto the pit straight he goes, and we've got a yellow, and that is down at the hairpin. So we'll wait. In fact, we'll wait for Hulkenberg to finish. He improves actually to go up into 4, so he gets in front of Hamilton there. Who is the culprit? We've got a yellow flag, and it's Charles Leclerc with a brake problem. So another failure then, this time in terms of the brakes, and it's courtesy of Charles Leclerc in the shadow then. So Leclerc will have to go into the T-car. It's the second driver who's pulled off today, as it's 4th then for Nico Hulkenberg. And looking for somebody who's on a lap. Hang on, let's have a look then. So Hartley's on a lap, but he's 5 tenths down in the second sector. He might be on for an improvement, but it just all depends how that monster's hooked up in the last sector. It looks like he could be on for in fact, it looks definitely be on an improvement, because unless he somehow loses about 8 tenths in this sector, I doubt it. I wouldn't think it's too much of an improvement though. Probably around about 18th he'll probably leap up to, or maybe 19th, but we will see then as Hartley then comes out of the final corner, and the Kiwi is going to cross the line, and he goes up to 18th. So I kind of predicted that right, so he's now within 9 tenths of Vettel. Magnussen doesn't improve himself, as Rosenquist doesn't improve either, as Rowland improves to go up into 20th there, so both Mars are at the back. Sainz improves to go up into 16th place. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo in the GRM. Is this going to be an improvement for the Aussie? No, it's not. He stays 3rd with that lap. As we now look at Will Power coming out of the final corner himself. And Power now then across the line. And no improvement hit for him then. As Alonso now then doesn't improve, stays in second, isn't able to get back to the top like he did for half of this session. Hulkenberg now then in the EMR crosses the line, no improvement, stays in P4. Here's Sergio Perez out of the bus stop chicane he goes as you now go up towards the final corner. And Perez now then, see what he can do. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight using a lot of the curb on the exit there. Perez is going to cross the line. And the Mexican driver improves but stays in 8th place as he cuts the gap a little bit between himself and Ocon. Verstappen stays in 6th for the time being. As coming out the final corner goes Stoffel Vandoorne. Heading down the pit straight he goes. Vandoorne stays where he is at the moment, which is P17. Here comes Hartley then down the pit straight. And Hartley stays 19th for that lap. Felix Rosenqvist now then across the line he goes and he stays in 11th place for that lap. Roland doesn't improve, stays in 20th as we now look at Carlos Sainz Jr. and no improvement for Sainz. As you can see now then we look at Ricciardo, he's now going to cross the line, no improvement, stays in 3rd place of that lap. Around the final corner then goes Will Power in the Eldorado as one of the AMPs is just right behind him on track. As we have just under 29 minutes to go. Power doesn't improve, stays 9th. Verline staying in 15th. Alonso looked like he got held up on that lap because I can't imagine him being 1.1 seconds off Vettel there without being held up. And stays in 2nd place, still 200ths behind Sebastian Vettel at this stage. Here goes Sergio Perez then, coming out of the final corner. And coming up towards the final corner, I should say, heading down the pit straight. And Perez, what can he do on this lap? And it's not an improvement. He stays P8 on the road. Verstappen staying in 6th place. As we look at Vandoorne in the AMP heading down the pit straight himself. And Vandoorne stays 17th, still behind Carlos Sainz Jr. And now, let's see then. We look at Jones. In fact, he's on a lap 4/10 down in the first sector compared to Sebastian Vettel as we now head up towards turn 5, using as much of the curb as possible, heading up towards the next section of corners. And now Jones going around the left-hander and up towards the double right. 8/10 down in the second sector goes Ed Jones. And so around he goes then, heading down the straight. And now through the bus stop chicane goes the Emiretti driver as he heads out of the second to last corner. And here comes Ed Jones then up towards the final corner. Currently in 21st at the moment, both Mars is at the back. But can Jones find a way to improve on his lap? Jones crosses the line and no, he doesn't, stays in 21st position with that lap. As Da Costa and Ocon go trundling down pit lane along with a couple of others that are expected to come out quite soon. As Jones starting another lap, in fact, before anybody else begins their first flying lap of this run. And now we ride on board with the Emiretti driver and for a brief moment there through at the end of the first sector, 6/10 down this time around. Obviously this lap is just trying to gather data if you can, but still the Mars Grand Prix cars currently at the back of the pack at this stage. As Jones now then negotiates through this flat out left-hander and up through the next section of corners. And now up towards the double right, and he's 1 second off in the second sector. Using as much of that curve as possible up towards the bus stop chicane. And let's see if Jones is going to be on for an improvement. Using a lot of the curb there that's on the left hand side. As we go up towards the final corner. And let's see then what Jones can do then. And let's see what Ed can do. He doesn't improve and stays in 21st position. Da Costa about to start his lap, as is Ocon. But now we look at Grosjean. heading through the second to last corner, and so far he's down in fact, where is he? Grosjean is he's 10th at the moment. He's currently in the cusp of the top 10, but no improving that time around for Grosjean. Stays in 10th place, and looking for somebody else is on a lap now, and that'll not Jones. Da Costa then, who's 1/10 down in the first sector there in the GRM. So far, his teammate for today, Ricciardo, currently up in 3rd place at the minute. Heading out of that right-hander now, then Da Costa through the left-hander and up towards this left-hander now. Then quite a quick left-hander as we go up towards the double right. 2/10 down in the second sector now is Da Costa as we negotiate through these next section of corners. As we now go up towards the bus stop chicane, and let's see what Da Costa can manage. Out of the corner then, heading through these next section of corners. And let's see then what Antonio Felix Da Costa can achieve. Out the final corner and onto the pit straight we go. And Da Costa is going to cross the line, and he does not improve. He stays where he is at the moment with 12th place at the moment. He was 0.555 seconds off the pace. Had to be quite exact there. And Ocon stays in 7th with that lap. Here comes his fellow compatriot, Romain Grosjean, heading down the pit straight. No improvement for him at the moment. Grosjean staying in 10th place with that lap. As here goes Kevin Magnussen out of the final corner. Onto the pit straight we go. And K-Mag now then improves, but stays in 18th place, 7/10 off Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton, meantime, stays in 5th with that lap. As here goes Nico Hülkenberg then in the EMR. Does not improve and stays in 4th place for the minute. Dixon right on board with the Kiwi. Comes down the pit straight now then. Dixon across the line. Improves but stays 22nd. Still his younger teammate in front of him at the moment in 21st. Kajala and Leclerc there do not improve on their lap as Rosenquist comes out of the final corner and onto the pit straight we go. And Rosenquist is going to cross the line, and he improves but stays in 11th, still not able to outpace today's teammate Romain Grosjean. Vettel does improve, stays on 1 minute 18.256. As there goes Da Costa then around the final corner. And let's see what he's able to do as he heads down the pit straight. Da Costa crossing the line, and no improvement for the Portuguese driver. He stays at the moment in 12th place, so that's that. As here comes Esteban Ocon. It looks like he's way off the pace. It looks like Ocon must have made a mistake somewhere on track. Maybe up at turn 4 where we've been seeing a lot of people pushing out of that corner. Sorry, turn 5. So Ocon way off the pace there. Looked like he made a mistake on that lap. Hartley does not improve, and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P19. Magnussen does not improve, and he stays 18 for the minute. As here comes Lewis Hamilton. Can he improve? No, he can't. Stays in 5th place, although that was a better lap than what the previous lap was. Rowland crosses the line, stays 20th. Hülkenberg stays in 4th place as Sainz behind him starts the lap. His current Renault teammate in real life, as we now ride on board with Scott Dixon. And Dixon crosses the line and way off the pace there, 1.7 seconds off, stays in last place. Kajala stays in 13th place for the minute. Leclerc stays 14th. As Rosenquist just comes out of the final corner there. The Swedish driver currently in 11th and stays 11th with that lap. Sebastian Vettel stays on 1 minute 18.256 on that lap. Here goes Brendan Hartley then on a lap in the Monster. And he's currently in 19th place at the moment, is the Season 3 IFMC GP2 champion, as he now approaches the bus stop chicane. Through the right, left, and then the double right-hander again. Out of the corner he goes then, through the second to last corner, and up towards the final corner then goes Brendan Hartley. Let's see what this lap time is going to be. Down the pit straight he goes, and Hartley is going to cross the line, and no improvement there, stays in 19th place. So we now, anybody else on the lap, it doesn't appear like, well, from down that pit straight it seemed, as we now look at Oliver Rowland heading down the pit straight, and the Brit stays in 20th place with that lap. as here goes Carlos Sainz staying in 16th for the minute. As now there's Fernando Alonso back out onto the track, seeing if he can try and get in front of Vettel if he can. We look at Sainz then, his fellow compatriot, and also in the shadow, which has been nicknamed the Etihad B team in a way. So who knows? Maybe one day Carlos could find himself in an Etihad. We know that Charles has stronger links with Etihad, but whether Sainz will or not. I mean, I know he was just hired as a shadow driver, not because he's an Etihad driver. He was bought after East Midlands Racing had him on as their test driver and also the GP2 driver as well for season 3. But Sainz now then negotiating through the section of corners, and Carlos now then coming towards the end of the first sector. He's 6 tenths down as he now just goes around these double right-handers. And let's see what Carlos can achieve as we go up towards the bus stop chicane. Through the right, left, and then right-hander we go. As he uses as much of the curve as possible. Through the second last corner and up towards the final corner goes Carlos Sainz Jr. And let's see what he can do as he heads down the pit straight. And Sainz is going to cross the line. And he does not improve. He stays 1 second off there from Vettel and still remains in 16th place. As now here goes Fernando Alonso, 3 thousandths off in the second sector. So that doesn't mean that much. It could mean that Fernando could pull something off in the last sector if that Etihad's good at that last sector, of course. Coming out of the bus stop chicane then goes the Spaniard, the 3-time IFMC champion now then, and a defending champion, of course, entering his final season in IFMC with number 14 as a tribute. Coming out of the final corner and onto the pit straight we go. Alonso, is he on for an improvement? No, he can't. Stays in second place with that. That has to get out of the way because a couple of cars are going out of the pits, that being Da Costa and Grosjean there. And so let's see now then as we look at Alonso. In fact, he's doing another lap. In fact, I don't know whether him having to swerve a little bit for those cars coming out of the pit lane might have cost him. I don't know. But Alonso now then up towards the right-hander we go. Here goes at the end of the second sector. Sorry, first sector, 3 tenths down in the first sector, so it might have cost him a little bit unless he's just doing this as a bit of a mileage run. As we now up towards turn number 6, just under 20 minutes to go, specifically just over 18.5 minutes left in this first day here at Jerez. And so far, this is what the leaderboard currently looks like at this stage. Right on board with Alonso again, 3 tenths down in the second sector. It's Vettel at the top, Alonso second, Ricciardo third, Hülkenberg fourth, Hamilton fifth, Verstappen sixth, Ocon 7th, Perez 8th, Power 9th, Grosjean 10th, Rosenquist 11th, with Da Costa 12th, Kajala 13th, Leclerc 14th, Verline 15th, Sainz in 16th, Van Dorn 17th, Magnussen in 18th, Hartley 19th, Rowland 20th, Jones 21st, and Dixon in 22nd position. So that's how that currently looks at this stage now then, as Alonso just comes out of the final corner there, and he crosses the line to be 6 tenths off Vettel overall, so staying in second place. Da Costa and Grosjean behind starting a lap. Here comes Max Verstappen. Is this going to be an improvement? It is. He lips off to 5th place to get himself in front of Lewis Hamilton that time around. Here goes Daniel Ricciardo. He stays in 3rd, where Hamilton expected to come back out, hoping to see if he can try and pull an improvement, unless he's just doing high fuel runs today like Alonso did at Paul Ricard on the first day. So now, as you can see, Jones heading down the pit straight, and across the line he goes. Jones stays in 21st position, staying in front of teammate Dixon. Verline now then staying 15th for the moment. Dixon starting his lap as Power just comes out of the final corner, heading down the pit straight. And Will Power across the line goes the Australian. Is this going to be an improvement? It is, but he stays in 9th place, only to cut the gap a little bit between himself and Sergio Perez. Speaking of Perez, there he is. He's about to finish his next flying lap as he just goes out of the hairpin. Heading down the pit straight, then he goes, and Perez goes across the line, and no improvement. Stays in 8th place with that lap as Hamilton goes out onto the track. Van Dorn looks like he's made a mistake somewhere, because he's 4.1 seconds off overall that time around. So that's so if you heard me burp there a little bit, that was by accident. And so coming out the final corner then goes to Costa. It looked like Van Dorn perhaps made a mistake then on his lap, probably maybe at the same places where Ocon possibly made his mistake. Da Costa stays in 12th place at the moment. Grosjean stays 10th. As Verstappen stays in 5th without that. Kajala doesn't improve. Ricciardo doesn't either. So both of those guys unable to improve on that lap. Jones now then up towards the final corner he goes. Out of the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the Emiretti driver, and Jones is going to cross the line, and no improvement for him. He stays in 21st position. Verline doesn't improve. What about Dixon? Dixon's currently in 22nd. Can he try and leapfrog above teammate Jones? No, he can't. Stays in 22nd place. There goes Will Power heading down the pit straight himself. He doesn't improve, and Power staying where he is, which is 9th place, still in front of Romain Grosjean. Grosjean's compatriot Ocon, can he improve? No, he can't. Stays in 7th place behind Hamilton. Hamilton currently in a martini sandwich, as Perez stays where he is at this stage. Here goes Van Dorn heading down the pit straight, and he stays in 17th with that lap. Here comes Lewis Hamilton, just preparing to start his next flying lap. Looks like he's got some clean track in front of him, unless somebody decides to pop out the pit exit. And so here goes Da Costa then heading down the pit straight. Da Costa crosses the line and stays in 12th place. Grosjean staying in 10th. As Verstappen heads back to the pits. Here goes Patrick Kajala now then heading down the pit straight himself, and Kajala stays 13th with that lap, as Dixon now then heads out of the double right-hander up towards the bus stop chicane. Through the right, left, and then right-hander goes Dixon. Out the corner, through the second to last corner, up towards the final corner then goes Dixon, and let's see what he's able to do. Out of the final corner he goes. Can he try and find some more pace compared to teammate Jones? Down the pit straight he goes, and Dixon stays in 22nd position. So that's that for here. Here comes Esteban Ocon. Up towards the final corner he goes. And Ocon now then heads down the pit straight, and across the line he goes. And is this going to be an improvement? Nope, stays where he is at this stage. As was Hamilton going across the line? No, he wasn't. I thought Hamilton was on a lap. Yes, he is. In fact, it is Hamilton. Took me a while to find him, but here he is. Hamilton now then out of the final corner, and let's see what the three-time runner-up can do. Hamilton crosses the line, and no improvement. Stays in 6th place at the moment. Top six quite tight with each other, it must be said. Could be the makers of a good championship. Who knows, really? As Vettel, the man currently at the top, prepares to start his next flying lap. In fact, a couple of others are starting to think about that now then. Vettel, in fact, because it doesn't appear like anybody else is doing a lap. We'll keep an eye then on the man that's at the top of the timing sheets at this stage. As Vettel now then up towards the final corner we go. Just over 13 minutes to go now then in this session. We're 4 minutes away from the 7 o'clock mark. As we head down the pit straight, Vettel then begins his next flying lap, as they're now riding on board with the German. Up towards turn 1 we go. Out he goes then, using a lot of the curve on the left hand side. Through turn 2. And then through turn 3 we go, as he uses a lot of the curve on the right hand side. So through the left hander, as we now go towards the tricky right hander now then. Vettel, first sector, 400s down in the first sector then, as he heads down the back straight heading towards the right hander. Just 13 minutes now left in the session, as he just goes out of turn 6, where his hero Michael Schumacher had some controversy back in 1997. So that's just over 20 years ago now, nearly 21 years ago now that happened. I was only a little baby when it happened. So 1/10 down in the second sector goes Sebastian Vettel, as we now go up towards the bus stop chicane. Through the right, left, and then right-hander we go, as Vettel now then goes up towards these final 2 corners on the track. And let's see what Sebastian Vettel can manage then. And he'll go around Lorenzo corner, heading down the pit straight. Is Vettel looking at an improvement? And no, he's not. Stays on a 1 minute 18.256. Only 1/10 exactly off his personal best in this session. We now look at Kevin Magnussen and Suomi, who's 4/10 down in the second sector. Let's see what his last sector is going to be like. Through the bus stop goes K-Mag, as now just over 12 minutes to go in this session. As now Magnussen approaches the final corner, one of the shadows is currently behind him. Not quite sure which one it is. It's either Leclerc or Sainz. That's the only thing I can have. It looks like Sainz, in fact, because it looks like a little bit of yellow on the helmet, red and yellow, as Magnussen stays where he is at the moment, nearly the same time, but he stays in 18th, and it was Sainz. Sainz just starting a lap there, as is Verstappen. As now we look at Charles Leclerc in the shadow. Leclerc currently in 14th place at the minute and doesn't look to be on an improvement, but we'll see what he can do anyways. He just negotiates through the bus-stop chicane. Through the second to last corner and up towards the final corner then goes Charles Leclerc. And let's see what he's able to manage. Down the pit straight then goes Leclerc, and he crosses the line. Is it an improvement? Nope, stays where he is at the moment, which is P14. Hulkenberg stays in 4th place, as Vettel now then crosses the line. An improvement for him perhaps? Nope, stays 1 minute 18.256, which he has been on the top now for quite a while now in this session, as we get to the closing stages of the first day here at the RAF. Rosenquist doesn't improve, nor does Roland. As we look at Hartley, luckily for him, Van Dorn in front isn't holding him up as we go through the final corner and onto the pit straight we go. Hartley now then, let's see what he can manage. He crosses the line and no improvement for Hartley. He stays in 19th place of that lap. Here goes Kevin Magnussen across the line. He goes, he stays where he is, which is 18th. As Sainz stays in 16th place of that lap. Here goes Max Verstappen. He stays where he is at the present moment, which is 5th place. What about Fernando Alonso? He just comes out of the final corner. Alonso currently second. Is this going to be an improvement then for the three-time champ Alonso? Yes, it is. Alonso goes fastest. He goes back to the top by 700ths of a second. Alonso goes fastest with that lap. As we now look at Pascal Wehrlein, just tell that power doesn't improve and stays in 9th place. Here comes Charles Leclerc in the shadow as he just comes around the final corner then. And let's see what he is able to do. The Monegasque driver crosses the line and stays in 14th place with that lap. So that's that for him. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo then out of the final corner. And Ricciardo now then is going to cross the line. And no improvement for him. And he's even finished for the day after this lap because he's got the checkered flag next to his name. Ricciardo stays 3rd. Rosenquist stays where he is, as does Roland. Here comes Stoffel Van Dorn. Up towards the final corner goes the Belgian as he heads down the pit straight. And Van Dorn is going to cross the line. And Van Dorn improves to go up into, but stays in 17th, I believe. And he gets the checkered flag next to his lane, this lap being his last. Hartley stays in 19th, I should say. I got him mixed up with Jones there. Sainz stays in 16th place. And so some drivers finishing off their session. Verstappen stays in 5th with that lap. Here is Alonso. Is he looking at an improvement as he heads down the pit straight? Alonso is going to cross the line. And no, he can't. 4 attempts of his time saves on 1 minute 18.185. Wehrlein improves to go up to 12. So up into 12th place goes Wehrlein, a big improvement. So Wehrlein goes up to 12th place. Power stays where he is at the moment, which is P9. As we now look at Daniel Ricciardo on his final flying lap, and Wehrlein now gets the checkered flag next to his name along with teammate Van Dorn. So both AMPs will be finished for the day. I don't know if Wehrlein is on another lap, but we will see anyway. Ricciardo out of the final corner. Can he try and improve from 3rd place? Across the line goes the Australian, and no, he can't. Stays in 3rd, and that's his session completed because he's got the checkered flag next to his name. He will be in the Etihad tomorrow alongside Alonso, so that will be quite interesting. I think it's Alonso. It could be Hamilton. Not 100% sure, in fact, but he is going to be alongside one of the drivers for who are going to be racing for Etihad this season. Van Dorn now then heading down the pit straight, and he does not improve and stays in 17th place as Perez about to start his lap now then. As we look at Pascal Wehrlein, 6 attempts down in the second sector as he negotiates through the bus stop chicane. And let's see what Pascal Wehrlein can do on this lap then as he heads up towards the final corner. And Wehrlein is about to cross the line And let's see then. So Verline across the line he goes. It's going to be an improvement then for the young German. And no, it's not. He stays in 12th place on his final flying lap there then. As Jones is back out onto the track. We now look at Perez, who's 1/10 down in the first sector. Perez currently 3/10 behind Alonso so far in the session, down in 8th place. So as you can see, through turn 6 then goes Sergio Perez as we now negotiate through these section of left-handers. Under 7 minutes to go now then here at a ref, and we've just passed the 7 o'clock mark. In fact, we're 4 minutes above the 7 o'clock mark. And so now Perez just going around these next section of course. Sorry if you can hear my dog, she's just being silly at the moment. Having one of her mad half hours. So now out of the bus stop chicane through the final 2 corners on the track, and let's see what Sergio Perez can do then. Is this going to be an improvement then for the Mexican driver as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line goes Perez, and no improvement, stays in 8th place with that lap as Da Costa, Grosjean and Cajalo expected to do a lap quite soon as we now look at Ed Jones. And Perez has now got the checkered flag next to his name, so his session is coming to a close quite soon as we ride on board with Ed Jones. And quite a superstar in GP2 last season, but obviously it's his first season now in the top class, and was also quite a superstar in IndyCar, but clearly a different sort of driving style for Jones needed for here in the top class. And so far both Mars's at the back of the field, Jones 21st and Dixon in 22nd position. Jones then negotiates through the bus stop chicane as we have just another 5 3/4 minutes left now then in the session. Up towards the final corner then goes Jones, and he heads down the pit straight, and Jones is going to cross the line, and is this going to be an improvement? It ain't. He stays in 21st and he gets a checkered flag next to his name, so this lap will be his last as Ocon starts his next flying lap as he's currently in 7th place, as Vettel hopes to get back to the top as he starts his next flying lap, as Perez now then about to finish off his final flying lap because he's obviously got the checkered flag next to his name. Through the final corner then goes Checo, and let's see what Perez can do. Across the line he goes, and he does not improve and stays in 8th place as Dixon, a fellow Eldorado employee. In fact, I think Dixon will be driving for Eldorado tomorrow, and so be aware of that. I can't remember if he's partnering alongside Perez or Bottas tomorrow. I believe it's Bottas he's partnering tomorrow, but we'll wait and see as Magnussen starts his lap. Hamilton about to start his next lap as we ride on board now then with Antonio Felix da Costa, who crosses the line and stays in 13th. Grosjean doesn't improve. He gets a checkered flag next to his name, so this lap will be his last as Leclerc and Rosenquist prepare for their next flying laps. As now we look at Patrick Cajalo in the Soemi. Cajalo currently 14th, currently outpacing Magnussen at the moment, today's teammate, who's currently down in 18th behind Stoffel Van Dorn. Up towards the final corner then goes Cajalo, and let's see what he can do then. Down the pit straight and across the line goes Cajalo, and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P14. He now gets the checkered flag next to his name. Jones finishes off his final flying lap and stays in 21st. Ocon, who gets a checkered flag next to his name, doesn't improve and stays in 7th. Here comes Sebastian Vettel now then. He crosses the line and he goes fastest, only by thousandths of a second though. Vettel goes back to the top and gets the checkered flag next to his name. So Vettel found some more pace to go to a 1 minute 18.184, and he 1,000th, separating Vettel and Alonso, two of probably the best guys in Formula 1 right now, in real life of course. Currently at the top of the timing sheets, Hulkenberg, his teammates lost a lap, as has Hartley. Dixon gets a checkered flag, doesn't improve, stays in 22nd. That will be his final flying lap that he's currently on. Magnussen coming down the pit straight himself. He's now going to cross the line. What can he manage? And he improves but stays in 18th and gets a checkered flag next to his name. This will be his final flying lap. The guy in front, Lewis Hamilton, goes up to 3rd with that lap. So up to P3 goes Lewis Hamilton. So he gets up to 3rd just behind teammate Fernando Alonso, as Da Costa stays where he is at the moment, which is P13. Grosjean doesn't improve and stays 10th and gets the checkered flag next to his name. So that's that really. Leclerc stays 15th for the moment, no improvement for the Monegasque driver. Here comes Felix Rosenquist. He stays at the moment in 11th and gets the checkered flag next to his name, so this lap will be his last. As we look now at Patrick Cajala, And Kajala now then is going to cross the line, and Kajala doesn't improve, stays 14th, and that's his session done and dusted. As we now look at Ocon on his final flying lap, he crosses the line and stays in 7th place with that lap. So that's that really. Here comes Sebastian Vettel. Is he looking at an improvement? And no, he isn't. By 4/10 of a second, stays on 1 minute 18.184 there. As now Hartley comes down the pit straight. Across the line he goes, and Hartley, with a checkered flag in his name, doesn't improve and stays in 19th position. As now Dixon goes out of the final corner, and let's see what Scott can do. Across the line he goes and stays 22nd on his final flying lap there then. Magnussen then, around the final corner he goes. And Kevin Magnussen is going to cross the line. And it looks like I think that's Alonso that's behind him, or Hamilton. Magnussen crosses the line. No, Alonso's in the pit, so it's Hamilton. Magnussen stays where he is at the moment, as does Hamilton, and that's his lap over with, because he's got the checkered flag next to his name now then. Magnussen finished off for the day. Sainz went back out onto the track. Here comes Charles Leclerc now then, heading down the pit straight, and the Monegasque driver does not improve and stays 15th for the time being. Here comes Felix Rosenquist, and he stays 11th on his final flying lap there then. Alonso prepared to start his next flying lap, and we know how X-Patch works. It will allow him to do one more lap, no matter if the checkered flag is out or if it's Jerez. I don't know if they will be able to do 2 laps, because they've done 2 laps now, so who knows really how X-Patch is going to react with Jerez today. We'll have to wait and see on that, but anyway, we will now look at Oliver Rowland as his teammate prepares to go back into the pits. Rowland now then up towards the next chicane through the right, left, and then right-hander on the track. And let's see then what Ollie Rowland can manage as he goes up towards the final corner to prepare for his last 2 flying laps, I would presume, depending on how X-Patch is going to react to this. Rowland then starting his next flying lap as he goes up towards turn 1 on the track. So through turn 1 then goes Rowland, and now up towards turn 2 on the track, and Rowland through turns 2 and 3, flat out he goes, and he'll go flat out through turn 4 before heading towards the end of the first sector there. Just over 30 seconds left now in the session as he head down the back straight now then. 4 attempts down the first sector there went Oliver Rowland, as we now go up towards the right-hander through turn 6, using as much as a curve on the outside there, as he goes flat out for the left-hander before approaching the end of sector 2. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of the session. Rowland was 7/10 down there in the second sector. We'll see if he is able to do another lap, depending on how X-Patch reacts to that then. So through the second to last corner then goes Rowland. Alonso is back on the track to see if he can get back to the top in front of Vettel. Out of the final corner then goes Oliver Rowland, and he crosses the line and he improves, but stays in 20th, and he is able to do another lap because the pit symbol hasn't come up on the right hand side, but he gets the checkered flag next to his name there. Sainz crosses the line and he doesn't improve either, so he stays in 16th place. Alonso preparing to start his next flying lap. Whether it be 1 or 2 laps, depending on how X-Patch reacts with Jerez, we'll see. But those guys are able to do another lap, Sainz and Rowland. So now then, Alonso goes up towards the final corner then, as he prepares to start his next flying lap, and hoping to see if he can get above Vettel again. And he just crosses the line now then. So we'll look at Max Verstappen. And yeah, Alonso able to do a lap, just have to double check there. As now out of the bus stop chicane through the second to last corner then goes Max Verstappen. And let's see how the teenage Dutchman can do. Through the final corner and onto the pit straight he goes, and Verstappen crosses the line and no improvement, stays in 6th place. He gets the checkered flag next to his name. Rowland doing another lap. These 4 just yet left to do a lap then. Through the second to last corner then goes Ollie Rowland, and up towards the final corner he goes. And Rowland then is going to cross the line. And is this going to be an improvement then for Rowland? Across the line he goes, and no it isn't. Stays in 20th on his final flying lap. Here comes Carlos Sainz Jr. heading down the pit straight, and across the line he goes. This is going to be an improvement. Nope, stays in 16th place just behind teammate Charles Leclerc. Alonso, 1700s down in the second sector there, so it doesn't look like at the moment Alonso is going to be able to top this session as he goes out of the bust-up chicane. And now then up towards the final corner then goes the Spaniard. And let's see what Fernando Alonso can achieve. Has he been able to pull something off in the last sector? Will he be able to do another lap afterwards? Across the line he goes, and he will be able to do another lap. And he was 1/10 off Vettel that time around, so no improvement there for Fernando Alonso. As we now look at Max Verstappen, heads up towards the final corner down on the track. And let's see then what Mad Max can do. Across the line he goes, and he stays in 6th place, no improvement. So we will look at Alonso, who's 1/10 down in the first sector there. It looks like it might just be just a mileage run then for the Spaniard. He's just the last guy to do a flying lap then. Probably trying to cheer the Spanish fans along who have come to see this preseason test as they try and support the home crowd, the home favourite, Fernando Alonso, I should say. As Alonso then out of sector 2, 1/10 down again in the second sector, and it looks like the Vettel has managed to top this session for the second consecutive time. He took day 4 honours at Paul Ricard, and now it looks like he's going to take day 1 honours here at Jerez. And despite a close fight there with Fernando Alonso, only 1,000 separating Vettel and the 3-time champ Alonso. Alonso now then heading down the pit straight, and across the line he goes, and no improvement for him, staying in 2nd place. And there you have it then. So that is the end of day 1 here at Jerez then. So after end of that, here is the results then. Vettel was fastest with Alonso 2nd, Hamilton 3rd, Ricciardo 4th, Hülkenberg 5th, Verstappen 6th, Ocon 7th, Perez in 8th, Power 9th, Grosjean 10th, Rosenquist 11th, Verline 12th, De Costa 13th, Kajala 14th, Leclerc in 15th, Sainz in 16th, Van Dorn 17th, Magnussen 18th, Hartley 19th, Rowland 20th, Jones in 21st, and Dixon in 22nd position. So we will wait for Alonso to go back into the pits. It will then cut to the menu. We'll remind you of what the results were, and then we will finish this live stream here then. So Alonso then just negotiating through this left-hander and coming out of the exit of Sector 2 as he prepares to go back into the pits. Still speeding up to see if he can get that little bit last mileage for Etihad. 2 and 3, I think they'll be pretty satisfied with that. And could have been tops for Alonso, but it seemed that Vettel had some more pace in this session. Perhaps maybe Alonso wasn't too bothered about him being at the top in this session. You just saw a flash there, free practice over then, and we'll double click these results pretty quickly as it just cuts to the menu, and there you have it then. That is the end of day 1 here at Jerez. A reminder then of what the leaderboard looked like. It was Sebastian Vettel fastest with Fernando Alonso 2nd, Lewis Hamilton 3rd, with Daniel Ricciardo 4th, Nico Hülkenberg 5th, Max Verstappen in 6th, with Esteban Ocon 7th, Sergio Perez 8th, Will Power 9th, Romain Grosjean 10th, Felix Rosenquist 11th, Pascal Wehrlein 12th, Antonio Felix da Costa 13th, Patrick Kajala 14th, Charles Leclerc 15th, Carlos Sainz Jr. 16th, Stoffel Van Dorn 17th, Kevin Magnussen 18th, Brendan Hartley 19th, Oliver Rowland in 20th, Ed Jones 21st, and Scott Dixon in 22nd position. So guys, that has been it then from day 1 here at Jerez. A very interesting session with Vettel topping it by only 1,000th in front of Fernando Alonso. A very good session indeed. But that has been it then, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow at 1 PM GMT, so an earlier time than today for day 2 at Jerez. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it, so thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 2 here at Jerez at 1 PM GMT. Until then, take care.